we need to talk about the rise of ghost jobs and how it's making it so hard for job seekers to find something good. And one time I applied for a ghost job without knowing it and even interviewed for that position that was already filled internally. And this wasn't just a random startup, but it was one of the bigger banks in the industry. And they even had a company-wide hiring freeze, but they obviously didn't tell me any of this information, but I only found out because one of my friends who had worked there found out on my behalf. And this seems all too common now because think of this scenario. You're looking for a new job and see a few roles on LinkedIn that you are a great fit for. So you spend hours crafting the perfect resume for each of them and apply for these dream jobs, and then silence. Days and weeks pass and still nothing. And you start thinking to yourself, did I make a mistake on something? Maybe I spelled my email wrong, or maybe you're starting to think that you weren't as qualified as you thought you were. And this happens over and over again while applying to hundreds of jobs, and you start to get discouraged and just want to give up. But you're not alone in feeling this way because not only is it hard to find a job right now, but some of the jobs that you're applying to might not even exist in the first place. A recent study found that 3 out of every 10 job listings are for roles that don't even exist and that companies have no real intentions of hiring for. So you might be asking, why would they even do that? So in this video, we'll dive into what ghost job listings are, break down the top reasons why companies are posting them, and how you can spot them so you know what to do instead of falling for them. So basically, a ghost job is what's referred to as a job posting for a position that is either non-existent or has been already filled by an internal hire. And according to 2024 Recruiting Trends Survey, a staggering 81% of recruiters admitted that their employees posted ghost jobs that fit this description, which is crazy to think about because this is pretty much stating that this is a normal practice for HR recruiters. Adding to the fact that there are thousands of people who are frustrated and discouraged from getting laid off or fired and just can't find anything in this slow job market. So this means they're wasting a big chunk of their time and effort for a job that doesn't exist at all, just because companies are posting ghost jobs for one of these 3 reasons. And the first, and I believe the biggest reason why companies are posting ghost job is to test the market and gather resumes in advance. And they might not necessarily have a job opening right now, but they believe a job will open up soon or post for a job that tends to have high turnover. And they just want to have a bank of qualified resumes on hand ready to go. And nearly 60% of companies surveyed admitted to this first reason of posting jobs listings solely to collect resumes for future use. So think of it like employers window shopping for job candidates. They're not ready to commit, but they just want to see what's out there. And this strategy allows companies to get ahead of the competition in hiring. And one CEO explained that some companies even have a monthly contract with job boards, so they post jobs just to use up their quota. And the second reason why you may not be hearing back, and the one that we kind of already talked about, is because the position is already filled internally, but companies are often required to post job openings, so they're not discriminating anyone out of the application process, and everyone technically has an equal chance to apply to the role. Now, I personally thought this was a government law to have them post these jobs, but after some research, I realized that most employers don't face any legal requirement to post these job listings to external job boards. But rather than it being a legal requirement, it's actually normally a company policy to post these jobs online, even if they know whom they're going to hire internally. And the policy is just to prevent nepotism and ensure that the best person is hired for the job. And in theory, if the external candidate is more qualified than the person that they had in mind, then the external candidate should be getting the job. And in reality, companies are just wasting their time and resources as well as the applicants as well, because oftentimes they already know whom they want to hire internally, but just have to put it online knowing full well that no one outside the company has a fair shot. And companies may still be posting these jobs externally, even during a hiring freeze where they know that they can only hire internal candidates, because nearly 25% of companies admitted to posting fake jobs to make it seem like they're not in a hiring freeze. And the crazy part is that I'm pretty sure I remember having at least 2 interviews with them, and they didn't even give me any updates until much later, which is so frustrating for me. And the third reason why they post ghost job is for public optics, especially for shareholders, as nearly 20% of companies reported that they post ghost jobs just to improve their reputation. Especially for public companies have this constant pressure to deliver and exceed market expectations, so they just want to look like they're constantly growing even when they're not. But these ghost jobs could really skew the US economic data because the Federal Reserve relies on the job opening and labor turnover surveys to help manage interest rates and inflation. But ghost jobs actually inflate the job market data, making it look like the labor market is a lot stronger than it actually is. And this might play into why you see headlines like this, where new data shows that US job growth has been far weaker than initially reported, and how the number of jobs added to the economy falls well below expectations. And especially now in a time of economic uncertainty, companies want to appear strong and healthy to investors and to the public, even if it's just smokes and mirrors. And if you are finding this video to be useful or helpful, make sure you like and subscribe, as that is the best way you could help this channel out. So now that you know ghost jobs exist, how can you tell if the job listing that you're looking at is real or fake? And here are a few clear flags. So the first sign of a ghost job is when a job has been posted for an unusually long time with no updates. And on LinkedIn, you might even see job listings that are reposted multiple times just so that it looks like it was recently posted. But it often shows that hundreds of people already applied to them. And the second sign is if job posting is vague or lacks specific qualification. This might be companies who might be fishing for resumes without a clear role in mind. And the third sign is if there are identical job listings across different cities and regions, where their companies may be just copying and pasting them even when they are not looking to hire in those areas. So in order to maximize your chances of applying to real jobs and avoid ghost jobs, the first thing you could do is to apply more selectively, which just means to focus on job listings from trusted companies or those where you can verify that the role is actively hiring. And you can even use this site or anything that's similar that tells you which companies are actively hiring or in a hiring freeze. This way you have a better sense of which companies are actually growing. And I find that if there are companies where you can see both hiring and hiring freeze, might just mean that they're only hiring the most critical roles in certain departments. And if you clearly see that they're in a hiring freeze, but you constantly see job posting from this company, you could be a little bit more skeptical on whether or not this role is legit. And the second thing you could do is to use company websites and avoid third-party job boards when possible. And to be completely honest, I low-key believe that jobs that are easy to apply are mostly ghost jobs, especially the ones that have an easy apply button or on Greenhouse that only take a minute to submit your resume. And I do like these applications because they're only asking for the most basic information, but I recently realized that I rarely hear back from these companies. And the ones that I have the most success with are the ones that I have to go to the company's website, have to create my own username and password to apply. And it's a lot, and it definitely takes a lot longer to apply, but I personally found the most success with these types of applications. And third way to maximize your chances of applying to legit roles is to network. And networking can make sure that you have someone who has your back and could give you the inside scoop on which departments are hiring for which role. And this could also help you bypass resume scanning tools and go straight to the hiring manager's desk. And I know that it's easy to feel down and frustrated when you're job hunting, especially knowing that up to 30 to 40% of job listings may be fake. And this has been a really tough job market in general, but if you can, try not to take any of the rejections personally, and don't lose hope because it's not a reflection of your worth, your abilities, and your qualifications. And I do believe ghost jobs should be illegal, and job boards like LinkedIn and Indeed should find ways to limit and remove these ghost jobs on their platform in order to protect their users and only allow jobs that have a real intent of hiring right now and not later. And if you are able to apply selectively, use company websites to apply, and network, you'll have a better chance of getting interviews and limit resumes from getting stockpiled in company databases. And if you are wondering why it's so hard to find a job right now, you could also watch this video next where I talk about what's actually causing this cold job market and when it might start to recover. So make sure you check out that next, and I'll see you guys there.